UnderTale. How does a game like this come from literally nowhere? This game is an indie RPG on Steam that has a unique battle system, quirky humor, and great characters. It's undoubtedly inspired by the Earthbound games, also known as Mother, a brilliant and unique RPG series that has unjustly had its back turned on by its own creators, Nintendo, in recent years. Well, don't worry, because UnderTale serves as a homage to those games, while also being distinctive by itself. And you have to play it. The battle system is what UnderTale is all about. While defeating enemies is somewhat simple, using a slider to determine the power of your attack, the unique part of UnderTale is that there's the option to leave your enemies alive by sparing them. This can be done by lowering their health, Pokemon style, or by using Axe to befriend them. The Axe are somewhat equivalent to RPG spells and abilities, but they vary depending on what enemy you choose. You can compliment a frog, make bad ice puns to an ice monster, or play off a warrior dog into submission. Yes, you can pet enemy dogs in this game. Sometimes Axe have effects such as raising stats and delivering status conditions as well. Finding out what effects Axe have on different enemies can be pretty fun, even if sometimes they have barely any effect at all. What's even more interesting than delivering attacks is receiving them from enemies. You see, in most games, a text box tells you the enemy attacked and you take a certain amount of damage. But in UnderTale, receiving attacks turns the game into somewhat of a shoot 'em up, where you control your soul, represented by a small heart, inside a box where you must move around to avoid the enemy's attacks, meaning you can get through battles without even taking a bit of damage. But avoiding attacks can get pretty crazy though, especially if there's more than one enemy on the screen. As every enemy has unique attacks, this keeps battles feeling varied and interesting. Even the bosses have unique ways of changing things up, but I won't spoil what that includes. If you've ever stayed away from RPGs because you thought gameplay only consists of cycling through menus, then this game is for you. The overworld graphics look very similar to the style of the Mother games, and it all looks pretty nice, even if, in my opinion, the main character is the worst looking sprite in the game. I don't know, it just looks like it has a much lower quality than everything else around it to me. The graphics in battles may turn some people off though, they're blocky white monsters against a plain black background. What I think saves it though is the animations that each monster has. This contrasts with the stiff, unmoving monsters in the Mother games, and most RPGs for that matter. It helps give the monsters in this game their own personality, helped by the fact that every enemy can talk and say their own lines each turn. The story, while simple, has some emotional and humorous moments, as you'd expect from a Mother-style game. What's intriguing is that it all changes depending on who you spare or kill. In this game, killing enemies and bosses actually means something. If you spare them, they'll sometimes show up later in the game, while if you kill them, they'll stay dead, which can affect interactions with other characters as well as events in the story. The characters you meet are great, and they're all charming in their own way. My favourite by far is the skeleton Papyrus. I don't want to say much about him to spoil things, but he's a blast. Just look at that battle sprite, that's sass. Make sure you spare him the first time around, I won't say anything else. There's also story hidden through signs and conversations with the likable NPCs of the game. And there's even different endings depending on how many monsters you kill or spare, which is good for replayability. Which you'll need, because there's one huge flaw of this game. It's short. You'll clock in about 5 hours of game time in one playthrough. That's tiny for an RPG. Sure, at least it's not bloated and overlong like a lot of RPGs out there. And everything is very streamlined and varied, making it difficult to get bored, which is important for any game in this genre. Thankfully it is pretty replayable, and everything's so brilliant you'll want to play it over and over again. I can see this being a game that'll be popular with speedrunning. UnderTale is only $10 on Steam, and despite its short playtime, it's some of the most fun you can have with an RPG. Also, it's got a damn amazing soundtrack. This has to be one of my favourite indie games of all time. This game has gotten nowhere near the attention it deserves when it came out, so go buy it, right now. If you're a fan of Earthbound or RPGs in general, this is essential. I desperately want a sequel to this, with a longer story and more time to flesh out concepts that could have been used more in the first game. Unfortunately, the creator Toby Fox has stated that he will likely never do a direct sequel, but hopefully someday, if this becomes big enough, he'll either change his mind or create a spiritual successor. Either way, this is the Mother sequel we've always wanted, and I look forward to seeing what comes next.